Welcome to the deep dive. Today we are opening up a source called The Wealth of Contentment, and it tackles one of those really persistent questions in modern life.
That's right. It's about the true relationship between money, success, and what we might call, genuine inner peace.
And we all have that voice, don't we? That little internal bargain that whispers, I'll be happy or I'll finally relax when I earn more.
When I hit that next number.
Exactly. It's this almost universally accepted equation, but maybe a deeply flawed one that drives so much of our stress.
I think so.
So our mission in this deep dive is to unpack a really honest, reflective monologue. It feels less like a self-help guru shouting at you and more like a quiet conversation late at night.
Yeah, when you're finally slowing down and thinking about the real cost of chasing that external success.
We're here to find out why hitting those financial goals so often fails to deliver the lasting contentment we thought we were promised.
And what's so fascinating about this source is its foundation. It's not based on abstract theory.
Yeah.
It's analyzing the speaker's own personal journey through these, financial extremes, from periods of real scarcity to times of, considerable financial comfort.
It's all based on lived experience.
Exactly. So it immediately cuts through the usual cliches. It really tries to determine the true practical difference wealth makes, and more importantly, where that utility just sharply ends.
So it's an evaluation of what wealth can actually solve versus what it leaves, completely untouched.
That's it.
And that contrast, that experience, is really the engine of the whole insight, isn't it? The author details the huge differences between living with very little money.
Where daily life was just defined by anxiety.
Right.
The next bill.
Right. Versus the comfort of earning more. And that contrast provides the evidence to back up the whole central claim.
And those experiences taught a really profound, if sometimes humbling, lesson.
Which is?
The core takeaway is that money is an absolutely powerful tool. It provides necessary, tangible benefits, but it has a very distinct ceiling.
I like how the author puts it. Something like, it removes the rocks from the road, but it doesn't build the destination.
That's the one. It provides the foundation, but it is totally incapable of building the structure of a meaningful life on its own.
So let's get specific about that foundation, because removing the rocks from the road, that's not nothing. According to the source, what does money actually buy that is genuinely good for your quality of life?
Primarily, it's comfort and security. And that leads directly to the biggest benefit of all, which is that money significantly reduces stress.
The day-to-day grinding worry.
The grinding worry, exactly. We're talking about that visceral fear of, say, an eviction or the dread of a surprise medical bill. The source really emphasizes that money's main function is as a defense mechanism.
It insulates you.
It insulates you against life's harshest realities. It provides that crucial stability.
Insulation is such a great metaphor. If you've been freezing, insulation feels like paradise. But I think we all know that feeling of being insulated but still feeling deeply restless. Did the source talk about any warning signs? About mistaking that insulation for real fulfillment?
It did. And this is where the reflection gets really sharp. The speaker found that once they were insulated, once the mortgage was manageable and the bills were on auto pay, the nature of the stress just changed.
It didn't go away.
It didn't vanish. It just shifted from that external survival stress to a more internal existential kind of stress. They found themselves worrying about optimizing investments or preserving the new wealth or comparing their success to others.
So the anxiety just puts on a fancier suit.
That's a perfect way to put it.
And that's where it gets really interesting, right? The powerful limitations of wealth. We've established money can remove a certain kind of anxiety, but the deeper question the source tackles is, what fills that void once the anxiety is gone?
Because the absence of worry doesn't automatically equal the presence of peace.
Not at all. And the source pivots pretty sharply here to what wealth absolutely cannot achieve, even at high levels.
Yes, and the list it provides is incredibly direct. It's really the basis for this whole shift in mindset. Money absolutely cannot buy peace, self-respect, or meaningful relationships.
These are internal goods.
Internal and relational goods, completely resistant to financial purchasing power. You can buy time, you can buy comfort, but you cannot purchase those three elements of a fulfilling life.
I have to push back just a little on that self-respect point, though. Couldn't achieving a difficult financial goal, say paying off a huge student debt or building a successful company from nothing, couldn't that be a massive source of self-respect?
That's an excellent point, and the source actually anticipates that. The author makes a distinction between momentary self-esteem from an accomplishment and sustainable self-respect.
Okay, what's the difference?
Sustainable self-respect, they argue, isn't purchased by the outcome, by the money. It's earned through the process, the integrity, the resilience, the discipline that went into it.
So it's about how you get there.
Exactly. Once the money is acquired, self-respect can only be maintained by continually living a life that's aligned with your internal values. If you compromise your integrity to earn more, the wealth you gain actively diminishes your self-respect.
That completely shifts the focus. So if money solves the external problem, the security problem, then the real work of contentment has to happen internally.
That's right.
The source uses some really beautiful reflective language here, talking about how the focus has to move away from external metrics, like those, numbers in a bank account, to cultivating specific internal states.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture for you, the learner, this perspective offers a much clearer view of the path forward. It just dissolves that simple and often disappointing equation of more money equals more happiness.
It forces a deeper look.
A more intentional evaluation of what success actually looks like once those basic needs for comfort and security have been met.
So if the bank account numbers are secondary, what are the primary building blocks of contentment? The source shifts the conversation here to the positive pillars of true happiness. There were 5 specific elements identified.
Yes, and this is where we get the actionable insights. The source basically says peace and happiness are an internal construction built on intentional living, and it lays out the blueprint.
And those 5 pillars are:
First, balance. Second, purpose, specifically meaningful work. Third is appreciating what you already have, so gratitude. Fourth, healthy relationships. And fifth, self-awareness.
Okay, let's start with balance. The source listed this first. Was balance just defined as like a time management problem, 8 hours for work, 8 for sleep, that sort of thing?
No, it was framed as a deeper mental balance. The others talked about the tyranny of the urgent. True balance in this context is the ability to direct your mental energy toward non-monetary pursuits, even when the financial machine is humming along.
So it's about where your mind is, not just your body.
Precisely. The source suggests that if your highest earning period is also the time you consistently neglect your sleep or exercise or hobbies,
Yeah.
you failed the balance test, regardless of what the bank statement says.
It's about honoring the inputs, not just the outputs, your health, your time.
That's it. It's a definition focused on sustainability.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Okay, pillar 2, purpose. We hear this term all the time, but how did the source define meaningful work in a way that really separates it from just financial reward?
It's about creating value outside of yourself. The author gave this really compelling example, realizing their meaningful work wasn't the high 6-figure consulting job,
Right.
but the few hours a week they spent mentoring younger professionals.
The source says, and I'm paraphrasing a bit, meaning is found in the application of your gifts toward a good that exists outside of your own wallet.
The difference between doing something because it pays well and doing something because the world actually needs it.
Regardless of the compensation, that's the core of it. I love that. It's very actionable. Now, the third pillar, appreciating what you have, or gratitude. This can sound a bit cliche, so what practical advice did the source offer on this?
The author insisted it has to be an active practice, not just a passive feeling. They mentioned a specific shift they made the moment they stopped tracking their net worth every day.
Which I'm sure many people do.
Oh, absolutely.
Mm.
And instead, they started tracking 3 things they were grateful for every morning. It could be anything. A quiet conversation, a good book, even just the stability they now had. That's when the shift in contentment really happened for them.
So you're creating a competing internal metric system.
A competing metric system. That's a great way to put it. Gratitude here is the deliberate choice to focus on sufficiency, not perpetual deficiency.
That's a powerful tool. Let's talk about the fourth pillar, healthy relationships. While money can't buy them, wealth can sometimes actively complicate them. Did the author touch on that friction?
Absolutely. The source highlighted that wealth often creates 2 forms of relational isolation. First, isolation by scarcity of time. Success just demands so much time that real connection erodes.
You're just too busy.
Too busy. And second, isolation by perceived status. Friends or family might start to treat you differently, either asking for help or feeling inadequate. And that corrupts the purity of the relationship.
So what's the solution?
The author's conclusion was that maintaining healthy relationships requires active effort, radical honesty, and crucially, dedicating non-negotiable focused time to them. You have to demonstrate that the relationship is more valuable than your earning potential during that hour.
It makes that intentionality mandatory, not just a nice to have.
It has to be.
Okay, finally, the fifth pillar, self-awareness. How did the source define this as a prerequisite for everything else?
Self-awareness is the bedrock. It's what allows you to manage the other four pillars. The source defined it as the rigorous, honest practice of understanding your own internal desires and triggers.
Asking yourself the hard questions.
The really hard questions. Why are you really chasing that next financial milestone? Is it for security, or is it to prove something to someone from your past? Only through self-awareness can you tell the difference between a genuine need and an ego-driven pursuit.
I think the author said something like, if you don't know what you truly want, money will just amplify what you think you should want.
And that leads you further and further away from peace.
What's so fascinating is how these 5 pillars connect to the overall goal of getting a healthier mindset about money and life. It's not about rejecting money at all.
Not at all. It's about understanding its place in the hierarchy of value.
It's about managing your priorities beyond just financial metrics.
Exactly. If money solved the comfort problem, these 5 pillars solve the meaning problem. It's a transition from focusing on the quantity of accumulation to focusing on the quality of cultivation.
And the source reinforces this idea with its simplicity. The writing is clear, the pace is natural.
The truth is straightforward, even if implementing it takes daily discipline.
And that clarity helps you, the listener, understand that real wisdom often lies in simple, well-articulated ideas. It's not about mastering some complex economic theory.
No, it's about understanding the relationship between your external life and your internal life.
So let's synthesize the crucial distinction here.
Okay. Money provides external comfort, security, and it massively reduces stress. That is its necessary functional role. But inner peace, self-respect, lasting contentment, that is an internal construction.
It has to be built.
It has to be built on things like purposeful action, genuine connection, and rigorous self-awareness. These are elements that must be cultivated, they can't be acquired.
So my final distillation of the insight is this. The ultimate goal is not defined just by hitting certain financial numbers. The true goal is finding that crucial balance, that sweet spot, that honors the need for stability while at the same time cultivating the personal, non-monetary qualities like gratitude and purpose that truly create deep, sustainable peace.
It's a constant project.
A demanding one. Securing the outer life while enriching the inner life.
And the author concluded that the greatest financial success is simply achieving the freedom to focus on the non-monetary things. So our challenge to you, the listener, this week is to identify one non-negotiable hour of your day. What would happen if you actively chose to fill it, not with earning or tracking, but with cultivating one of these 5 pillars?
Look back at that list. Relationships, gratitude, self-awareness, meaningful work, and balance. When you feel overwhelmed or dissatisfied, which single element from that non-monetary list is most critically missing in your current daily priorities?
Focusing on strengthening that missing pillar might be a far more effective path to happiness than simply chasing the next financial milestone. It's time to define success not by what you accumulate, but by what you cultivate.
Use the sources we discussed as a new framework for evaluating your own priorities this week. Thank you for joining us on the Deep Dive.